Are you currently on Instagram and feeling like you're not getting anywhere? I get it. In fact, a lot of people feel that way too. But if you want to finally make a breakthrough on that platform, keep watching this video. Hey guys, I'm Charmian-Marie, Beetle business coach and communications consultant, and what I do is help my clients to lay a solid business foundation and show up consistently and confidently online. So today we're going to be focusing on the best practices for Instagram. Now, I'm sure you've possibly seen a lot more videos with this topic, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of opinions and expert advice in terms of Instagram and stuff. And fine, there are many strategies in terms of Instagram, but I at least wanted to share these best practices with you as you are even learning the other different strategies that some of your coaches or some of these other YouTube videos would be encouraging you to check out. All right, so it's just 5 best practices that will definitely help you no matter which strategy you choose, and you'll see the results in terms of people interacting with you, in terms of people asking you what you do, and all of these things. All right, so number 1, make sure to have a call to action on all of your posts. Now, the idea of a call to action, I feel it has been very skewed in terms of, just how people view it. Like, people somehow believe that, a call to action means, all right, just click the link in my bio to purchase this, or click the link in my bio to see my website, But calls to action actually just really mean that you are really asking for somebody to make a specific action. So it doesn't mean that you're automatically telling them to purchase from you. It doesn't mean that you're automatically telling them to visit your website. It could mean that you're saying, hey, drop something in the comments below, or let me know how you are doing today, something like that. It literally means that you're trying to invite them to interact with you and build engagement and all these things. So no matter what, we all will recognize that Instagram thrives on engagement. Instagram thrives on whether or not people are actually interacting with your profile, the algorithm that so many people dread, So you need to make sure that you have calls to action on all your posts, even if not all of them are saying, click the link in your bio. Some of them can say, send me a DM. All these things. There's so many calls to actions that you can, include. So don't limit yourself, but make sure that you always include a call to action and stuff. And even if it's a thing where you don't feel that you have a specific action that you want them to take, at least make sure that you're causing them to think at the end of that post. So for instance, at the end of your caption, you say, so think about how you're gonna do better tomorrow. So in telling them to think about something, you're not necessarily telling them to post below, but at least there's an internal thing that they are doing, and by inviting them to do that internal thing, they can choose to comment yes, but it also means that there's subliminally able to say, all right, cool, so and so told me that I should think about this, and then they're possibly gonna do it. You get me? So just make sure that you have some form of a call to action under all of your posts and stuff, so that people feel like they are connecting with you and interacting with you and being invited to engage with you. All right, second thing, have authentic captions. Now, when you think of authentic captions, or the idea of authentic captions, it's almost like, okay, so someone taking the time to actually write a caption. I'm wondering if you're hearing this interesting ambulance. I'm hoping that you're not, but I'm trying to strategically let this ambulance pass. Anyway, so okay, cool. So authentic captions. So you're possibly wondering, cool, okay, you're writing a caption, so wouldn't it be authentic? So interestingly, no. That it just because you're writing it doesn't automatically mean that it's authentic, because the reality is that social media, a lot of us can actually agree that, especially Instagram, somehow feels like a collection of highlights on people's lives, so people always put their best foot forward, so you don't always hear about people's failures. You don't always hear about, when people cry or when people just don't feel good or whatever. It always seems just happy, joy, and life is good, and it's the same thing with business. People feel that they should only be speaking about just the benefits of business, and all of it gets really intense, But our reality is that in writing about these things and putting our best foot forward and always feeling like we have to stage everything and all of that, a lot of persons lose the fact that people buy from people, and people connect with when other people are human, right? And so it's important for us to really work on having that authenticity and humanness in whatever we write. Now, granted, I'm not gonna tell you to come and make up a horrible story. I'm not gonna tell you to come and cause the whole of your followers to decide to cry. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that do your very best to make sure that people can feel like they can relate to you, and make sure that you're not afraid to show that you have real emotions, you have real things that you go through, and you also have real opinions that are not necessarily the things that people would expect to hear or want to hear, because they'd expect you to agree with what the rest of the crowd is saying in terms of a specific topic. So do your very best to be very authentic in writing your captions and making sure that people can connect to you and relate to you no matter what. All right, so the next thing is consistency. Instagram thrives on consistency. Note that I'm not saying frequency. Frequency means that you're posting all day every day, like whatever. But consistency, at least make sure that Instagram sees that you are you're posting relatively often, whether it's 3 times a week, 6 times a week, 9 times a week, or something of the sort. But if you post 2 times a month, is that really consistent? That ends up being more haphazard, and so your patterns aren't able to be tracked, and so Instagram will definitely automatically put you to the bottom of the totem pole, which you don't want, especially if you want to make sure that you can consistently interact with your followers and they are actually seeing your content. Remember, Instagram automatically only shows your content to 10% of your audience anyway, so if you further make that worse by not showing up consistently, where do you land? Next thing, varied content types, right? So one of the things that I love about Instagram, and I always love, is that they have so many outlets on the one platform, so you end up not feeling like you need to go on many other platforms because of just how much Instagram takes, right? So you have your stories, you have your lives, you have your reels, you have your IGTV, you have your guides, you have your DMs, to talk on and stuff like that. That's a lot, just saying. So that's why you have persons who literally just niche down to being social media managers for Instagram and all of that, or Instagram business coaches and things like that, because Instagram is a lot, right? And so it's important for you to recognize that in having those many outlets, you need to create content for those many outlets. And I'm not saying you must post to all of them every day, but make sure that it's populated at different points, to refresh the feeds and all of that. Now, especially in terms of your regular Instagram feed, now make sure that it's not just pretty photos of you. Make sure it's not just like little words on the canvas or something like that. You can do carousels as well. You can do videos. You can make sure that people feel entertained or like they're gonna get something different or something new every time they land on your page. Now, I will say with transparency that I don't always get to do varied content, but when I do, I make sure I go really hard in it, because I definitely see an instant change in how people are engaging and how many followers I'm getting per day and all of that, so I really encourage my clients to do their very best to switch it up a little, because just like we are, the fact that we are dynamic individuals, we love taking in dynamic content, right? So make sure that you're exploring the different content types so that you can put your best foot forward on Instagram, right? And actually, I just merged my last 2 points into one. But saying that to say, guys, let me just quickly run through all of them, right? So make sure you're having calls to action on each of your posts. Secondly, authentic captions go a long way. Third thing, consistency. Fourth thing, varied content types. And the fifth thing, make sure to use all outlets on Instagram. Alright, guys, so I'm hoping that you learned something in this video. If you have any comments, if you have any concerns, questions, feel free to drop them below. You know I'll answer. And yeah, guys, I'm happy that you watched this video. Make sure to check out the other videos on the page. I have a lot more coming for you, especially if you are ready to build, nurture, or scale your business online. All right, guys, so until next time, take care. You just watched Align and Thrive, well, another video. Take care, guys.